minus kwako.
Since there's Nokia today, reset has to be HTC, then reset is iPhone, then
So that is minus. We're good to go. Where am minus? Go for
I'm just fed up.
So the chick was pulling these missions. That cake chick, she was like, what? I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, yeah.
Levels are good, yeah?
Okay. Already? Don't put it up on fire.
I actually like that. It starts that way. Then you drop the intro, then we start.
Saka, I busy. He busy.
They have no idea.
No clue at all. Or maybe they do, like what you're saying when you're ranting last week.
It wasn't a rant. It was.
No, you're ranting.
It was knowledge.
No.
Yeah, which if you take, it becomes wisdom. I'll use your own language there. It becomes wisdom.
Don't even try. I think you're excited because it's your birthday.
Thank you. Good morning. No, good afternoon, right? Good afternoon. I'm confused because yes, it is my birthday.
No, you don't work for ZFM.
No, I don't. I don't think they can afford to pay us actually. Because we are the best or nothing.
Oh, boss, that's the only way.
Yes, there you go.
Woo-wee.
We don't pursue excellence. Excellence pursues us.
Yeah.
And we're always there to surprise you.
Yeah. You got to make sure when you hustle so that the mediocre becomes demonic. Hey, I'm going to put that this week.
Okay. How you doing, man?
Hey, guy, I'm alive. Eh?
You are?
I'm okay.
Today's my birthday, so I'm going to be mellow. I'm not going to be saying anything. I'll just be going, Uh-huh.
Yeah, right, Chris.
Yeah, because you got to come back from last week.
No, well, not much of a comeback. Eh?
Yeah.
You just need to go over a few things that you said in error. You see.
For those who don't know, Vusa writes everything down.
It's important.
He then goes over it like a meticulous, I don't know who else can be, like a surgeon, and then dissect it really thin.
You need to. It's very important that you must.
And I'm happy you got something that you want to come back with. I know it's going to be rubbish because I spoke the truth last week.
But the truth is defined by he that says it. You see, because your perception is not my reality.
So truth is always an individualistic sort of thing, right?
Yes.
So it's how you accept it as well.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, but unless I speak truth in every aspect, and I do know you, and I speak exactly what's there, the only contradiction you'd have it is because it's not your original thought. That's what you'd fight with.
No, it's not about original thought. Chris, come on. You see, now you started again. You just want to throw me. No, it's okay. Yeah, don't
the
worry.
games we play, part 2.
The games you are playing right now with me. You see now. So let me get my act together. So it up. Oh yes. Okay. Yeah, you're saying go for it. Go for it, man. Go for it.
I got nothing today. It's my birthday. I'm mellow. I'm mellow. I had a very interesting week. I had a lot of things brought to conclusion. A lot of soul searching. And I think a lot of things that I said last week were true. I think for me, anger has always been a more positive emotion than anything else because the other ones blind us and they make us create Disneyland sort of quotations about forever. But things that we really want to be truthful for is ourselves.
No.
Very truthful about ourselves.
Anger, let me define anger, not from any dictionary, but from the top of my head. Anger is when you realize the folly of your decision and your definition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Because you failed to define where you were 2 weeks ago. You failed. You're now upset with the folly of the fact that you failed to define yourself. And because you failed to define yourself, the decisions you made that led to the choices where you got to were of your own making.
So,
and then the other mistake you made was you then defined on behalf of someone else. Yeah. Okay. So it's your fault.
It's my fault?
Yeah, and don't say soul searching. You're looking in the mirror and saying, what did you do?
I took it and I said, I totally agree with you 2 weeks ago. And I said, you're right. I didn't define it properly.
Yeah, so whose fault was it?
So it was my fault. And I took it
so who was the manipulator then?
So then I came back the next week
the question.
with a nice rebuttal to that. That they are the chess players and we're the pawns in it and they're way ahead. And I think even coming to that sort of conclusion was the realization that, yes, I had a definition that I had and I carried it forward. But they were not happy with that definition. They wanted their own definition. And when I was persistent with my definition, they were like, but that's not going to work. And that's when I realized that it's not going to work. My definition never was going to fit in the norm of what they had already planned and made a decision based on. Exactly how you said it. That
they had already planned.
Yes.
So you're saying they made a decision before you did?
A long time ago.
Oh, okay.
That's why my rebuttal of last week was purely based on that. That I'm on chapter 1, they're on chapter 6. They know what's happening. They plan exactly what needs to be done. And you must understand that everything I said was based on actual events. And it's interesting. My business partner, concurred with me when I said you only find the one in hindsight. You don't find them immediately.
Obviously, you concur with you because you're in each other's space all the time. It's not just in hindsight, boss. Come on. I mean, enough of this hindsight nonsense.
Anyway, we digress.
You can't always be driving, look in the rearview mirror. You can't. You can just, I should have. No. It's there and then when you're taking that curve or you're overtaking at that moment in time. It's not in hindsight. You just knew, but it's just you're being silly and you didn't want. It's like when you're being cut off by a fellow driver, another driver. We'll use in Zim, let's use the combi guys or the turtle wish guys of late. When he cuts you off and you try and block him, you know what you're doing. But you just want to be childish not to back off. It's the same thing, the one that got away. You knew at the time. You just regret the fact that you should have made a different decision instead of walking away. You should have stuck it out. So next.
No, that's just unfair. Mr. Producer, this is so unfair.
No, it's not unfair. Yeah, that's the way it is, Chris.
There's so many variables to everybody's situation, I think. And I like the fact that we can look back and then make it happen. And one day I'm going to write a book about this and it's going to be a bestseller. The variables that were there were, it's not that I didn't. Again, the decision of what needed to be done by the other party had already been made. And I think that's always going to be like that.
No.
You both have to be in sync for it to work. And if one person's decision has already been made on where they want to take it and you're not in sync, no matter how good your proposition is, it's not going to go that way.
No. You see, when it comes to...
Disneyland is speaking.
No. The mere fact that there was a moment in time when you're in sync means you're both on the same page and reading the same book. But then you then defined and said, no, flip the page when they hadn't finished reading. And the mere fact that you were there at one moment or 1 second in time, that was enough.
I'm going to let you go with it.
Because there's no let me go. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. That moment when you're on the same page. There's a moment that you're on the same page. Because if there wasn't a moment where you're on the same page, there would not have been the impetus for you to continue to get to the point where you think you...
But I only continue because there's an assurance of affection.
Because you're on the same page.
No.
But then there's a decision that you made.
No.
That was contrary to what you... Not contrary, but the overall decision, the overall definition where you were.
Yes.
You did not articulate it effectively enough for one to accept it. But what you did is you just moved, you bulldozed your way.
I like that. And you know what's wonderful about life? It's time. Time keeps moving. And this story will be written differently when somebody comes back and says, your decision was actually 100% correct. We should have done A, B, C, and D. Because I'm moving at the same speed that they are. Anyway.
Well, you know what?
We're dwelling too much on me. It's my birthday. You're not supposed to do this.
To do what? To remind you of the folly of your definition. Yeah, because you... And let me keep quiet. All right. So anyway, a game. A game is any activity undertaken or regarded as a... and let me say that again. It's any activity undertaken or regarded as a contest involving rivalry, strategy, or struggle. That's a game.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll repeat it. Any activity undertaken or regarded as a contest involving rivalry, strategy, or struggle. And play is the conduct, course, or action of a game, or a particular act or maneuver in a game. That's a game, and that's play.
I like that.
So yeah, the games we play, but you realize a game is conditioned by rules.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the things we do to get what we want, and how we, because that's the normal. That's how I was edited to present this topic. Instead of the games we play. So if we're playing a game, there has to be rules. Who defines those rules?
The players.
Yeah, but how are those players then conditioned to make the rules?
The objective. I think it's determined by what you want to achieve, isn't it?
Yeah, but then who determines that, Chris? Who determines that? There's a set plan. Who determines that? Because that's what we're basing this whole argument on, the games that people play. Who define the rules?
Okay, for me, it's the players, because we're the ones who are in the game.
Yeah, but no. But then we said the games that people play. Yeah, the games.
People?
Yeah, that people play. So the people define the rules.
Yes, society.
Society defines the rules.
I'm going to use that
So
word.
are we then saying that the games that people play that have got us to the point where we are doing this whole FEDUP podcast is the game itself has been made up by people?
Yes.
And the rules have been made up by people?
Yes.
So if you go against the grain, then what happens?
Who's grain?
Huh? The grain of this, what society has stated. Because if we continue to move by the rules
They'll
that
say
people are
we've broken-
setting,
Yeah, we've broken the rules.
yeah, we've broken the rules.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we become rebellious.
Yes.
So they want to keep us. They want to keep us in this game.
Yes.
So that we can officially stand by your definition of forever.
Who's? Mine.
Yeah, your definition
No.
of forever.
If we keep to the rules like you said, like
Yeah.
you just said to me, it gives us your Disneyland forever.
No.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Society
No.
will never
Because
allow you to go against the grain.
we've termed this the games that people play. Yes, and we've gotten to the point where we've understood that these games sometimes are just a whole pile of brown matter. So ideally, life is not about brown matter. Ideally, so the games that people play that get us to this place. We're always thinking about the one that got away and the one that's settling and whatever you are then defined by society. Yeah? So if we go against the grain, society, ergo it means that going against the grain supports my definition of forever.
No.
Yes, Chris. Because my definition of forever
give me.
holds on to the fact that I can do better tomorrow because of this. Your definition of forever is screw this.
No.
I'm out of here.
That's against the grain.
No. Going with the grain is accepting that these are games that are being played.
Society frowns upon anybody who goes against the grain, right?
Exactly. Hence why you frowning upon my definition of forever. And how does society frown against it? By labeling it as Disney or as Hollywood. That's how society, because society says, let's be real. It doesn't work that way. You scan. So that's you.
I see where you're coming with this.
No, it's not with that. It's not seeing.
I see where you're coming with
Understand it, Chris. You see now, my definition of forever means you go against the grain. So it's not about the games that we play.
Let me say something before you go.
Yes.
Is society happy?
Society is not happy.
Thank you. Why is society not happy?
I don't know. You tell me, because you're the one that says forever is just
society
a
never
concept.
found forever. They never found the one. They never found the one.
No.
Society settles.
That's where your problem is. Yeah. You see, society has decided that it is not worth your time, patience, space and time continuum.
Yes.
Society dictates that is irrelevant and not necessary, because if you're in a place of utopia, where competing against each other is really not necessary, but complementing one another is.
Yes.
That goes against the grain of society, because society needs you to be dynamic for you to want to get something better, because what you have is not enough, which then supports your decision of forever.
I can see you were thinking about this.
Oh, boss. I was too quiet last week. So that's what I'm saying. What happened this past week? I bumped into this TikTok thing, and this guy says, I forget his name. He says, and I'm gonna take a short left to Christian mindset,
which you were born and raised upon.
Yes. I'll take a short left, considering that, churches can now meet, if you got your vaccination card and all that.
That's just a marketing ploy to get everybody vaccinated, right?
Oh, yeah, because they know that,
you want to go to church.
As F-chaps, we just got this whole spiritual thing.
We gotta go.
We gotta go. To do what? We just gotta go, okay? Forget the fact there's no bread in the house. We gotta go. We gotta go. To do what? To pray. That's where God is not in the building.
No, he's not.
Come on.
No, he's
anyway,
not.
It's another podcast.
It's another podcast.
Yes, we need to get rid of these podcasts here, and then we move on to those ones. But anyway, this guy says the Bible never says anything about a man must love. No, about a woman must love her husband. Never says it at all. At all. I can't see the producer, but you can look at him. The Bible never says at any moment in time that the wife must love.
Are you serious?
I'm for real. Must love the husband.
Even the whole proverb stuff and everything.
Nothing.
Producer, is that correct?
Nothing. The Bible does say, men, love your wives. Obviously, as the weaker verses and all that, that's
thank
another
you for bringing
podcast.
this up. I love this.
And then it says, women, submit.
Oh, okay. They'll never agree to that.
You see now,
they don't
because,
like that.
because that's against society. You see, ergo supports your definition of forever. So it says women submit. Then the guy said something that just blew me away. He goes, men are supposed to love unconditionally. Supposed to.
Yes.
And then women are supposed to be the support structure where he finds his place of rest, where he finds his place of comfortability, where he finds his place where when everything is falling apart, there's the support. He knows regardless, somebody's going to be there who's got my back.
That's true.
Society, which you are representing right now.
Okay, I'll represent society today.
With your definition of forever. Society then says, no, he must support himself.
That's not society, V. No.
It says he must support himself. He must make a plan.
Okay.
Yeah. And he must always make a plan.
Okay.
And so what has happened is that mindset has now drifted in and has become sort of like a cultural precedent. Although it's stupid, but it's a cultural precedent where he must make a plan. In everything, he must make a plan. Removing any responsibility of support, place of rest, resting in the significant other.
And celebration.
In celebration. So when you get to that point, your definition of forever kicks in and says, he's going to fail. You know what? Come on, it's fine. You know, what did Chris say the last time? Drop the bag. That supports. But then when you kick in to, we're going to fail, but you know what? We're going to get up and we're going to keep moving. That support is no longer there. And then you brought something in last week about the princess complex.
Yeah, I got to start writing stuff down.
Yeah.
You're talking a lot of rubbish.
The princess complex. This is Chris saying, what did he say? He said, you know what? There's so much of a princess complex. And what does a princess do? A princess whines and complains and is always upset and they want something.
Does your princess whine?
No, because I'm telling you the actual. You were just saying it to support your definition of forever. So the princess, what does a princess do? I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. What does the king do? The king then makes sure, that he avails resources to accommodate the princess. You said that last week.
Yes, I did.
To accommodate the princess. Now that complex of king and princess removes from the princess's mind the fact that they will not always be a princess. They are going to get to a position where they're going to have to be
the queen.
A queen.
Yeah. I follow. I'm with you.
And because they are now a queen with the princess complex, what happens is they're no longer able to support the king as a queen. And so they become irrelevant and redundant. And that becomes an issue.
Oh, okay.
And that becomes an issue.
Right.
And so, because I was thinking about it.
You were thinking about it.
Oh, no. So your
You're
princess.
articulate today.
Oh, boss.
Yeah.
I had to because.
Let me know when I need to come in.
No, you don't. We can finish the podcast. We can finish the podcast. So the princess complex now encourages the queen to be ignorant. And they choose to be ignorant because it's too much work to want to come out of the box of something they've been conditioned to do. That's why I was asking. Society then defines the game? And you said, yes, if the people do, yes. But if you then go against the grain, you're labeled as a rebel. You're labeled as, what was he doing? You know, and it gets to a point where she doesn't know he's being rebellious. Because the king now because queen is no longer
in tune. Yeah.
What then occurs is
another queen
FEDUP Chris, who failed to accept the definitions that were presented before him.
Yeah.
This vice versa. It's not gender. It's a gender equal setup.
Yeah.
So the things we do to get what we want, like we were saying, they're mind games. But some of these mind games can actually be dealt with when you initially decide and you define yourself.
Yeah.
And everything needs a definition, be it a relationship, male to female. And this is where we are going to stop there. And we don't think of other relationships, but male to female, male and female. And when I say male and female, born male.
You gotta clarify.
No, I've got it. There's no transing. No. Straight up. And it also falls into even when you business deals.
Yeah.
You've got to define yourself.
Yes.
You need to get a position where you're like, you know what? This is worth it or this is not worth it.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I had to, incidentally, I did this last week. This fella, this says, look, I've got some vehicles I need you to work on. Can we agree on a rate, labor rate, and for his 2 vehicles? Mm-hmm. The cost of the proposal for him was the 2 vehicles was going to come up to the same rate of which I charged for one. Right. I said, "Are you mad?" No, brah. That's when brah comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, brah, come on, my brother. No family. No. It's work, because I know in the back of my mind that he doesn't do that when he's going out to hustle.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, but
I'm actually fed up with that sort of.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
And you're black, so you gotta compromise.
You know what I mean? No. I can't do that. I can't do it, because when I need to see my kids, I'm not gonna say, "Hey, guys,
can we compromise?
So what I was doing 100%, please accept my 30% as 100%.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah.
It's one of those those places as well, and that really irks me.
Yeah.
And so he drops off the car and gives me the payment that he proposed. I said no, because we'll make a plan. I said no. When you come pick it up,
bring the other money.
I said no. You bring the other money. He thought I was joking. When I finished, I said, "I'm done. Can you bring the other money?" I'm driving out, I got a breakdown. I'm leaving the keys with the guys at the workshop, but they're not giving the keys until
there's a payment.
Yeah, the balance. I think it caught him off guard, because you need to state where you are at.
Know exactly where I am.
Know exactly where you are. And these are people that are used to being able to get their way. Out together. Princess complex.
Yes, I'm on that.
And the moment you stop, because you know your definition, you become rebellious, or you're becoming unreasonable.
Because they can't predict you anymore.
Exactly. And so when people fail to predict you, or people fail to read you in the way they thought they could read you, you are the issue. And I'm fed up with that.
I want to ask at that point, whose responsibility is it to educate?
The one who is now defining.
So if you've come out and this is who you are and they can't predict you anymore, you should educate them?
You don't have to sit them down and just say, "This is where I stand."
Okay. So they must accept that.
They have no option.
Yeah, okay.
You shape up or you shape up or you shape out. It's a no-brainer. And I think so many times we're trying to accommodate people because we are fearful of the unknown. There is no unknown. The unknown is created by your definition. You understand? Then it becomes the known. Make sense?
Yeah.
And so when you fail to clearly define yourself, and feel free to accommodate your definition of forever, you're then creating a situation where there's a fear of the unknown. So you need to define yourself. And when you define yourself, this princess will realize that, I can't. And the princess complex leaves. Because now when they, remember we discussed, it's either you're deaf or you don't listen. You then choose to be ignorant. So it's all about choices. And now we've become very relaxed on how we stand firm with regards to how we define ourselves, whether it's in our personal environment or in a professional environment.
Okay.
You have to be very clear, regardless of who it is.
Yeah.
Because the clearer you become, the more respect you get. Full stop.
That is true.
Yeah, the clearer you become.
You dropped a line, I actually don't remember it, but I remember it spoke about that more than anything else, where if you do define yourself, everybody then follows suit.
Yeah.
And exactly, they know how to deal with you once you define yourself. And you should be steadfast in that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, those are old school hymns. Huh?
Yeah. You should be steadfast. If you're not steadfast and you're wishy-washy, they can take advantage of that and see that, okay, you're not yet set on what you want to do.
Yeah.
They will take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So I like what you've said. I don't know, you got more?
No, keep going. Check the producer's laughing now.
Because I think you can tell. So when I spoke about the princess effect or principle or whatever it might be, was purely in the norm that they do know. They're not ignorant. Nobody's actually ignorant. Life is about choices and experiences.
Go for it.
Yeah. So they do know.
Yeah.
A princess grows up to be a queen.
Yes.
Who knows what it feels like to have that sort of attention where you need to provide for that. And if you follow the full story, she got to realize that she still is, but she doesn't have to play on the card. It was a reminder for her because she had got stuck in the whole thing that she has to support and didn't realize that she is also quite important. And that's what the story was saying. And you want to be able to say to someone that I haven't forgotten what you are and what you mean deep down. I haven't forgotten that you also want to be treated in that sort of way. And even though I'm your king, I recognize you as my queen who's still got a princess heart. Provision, which is what man does. He provides. Provision comes in different shapes and forms. Yeah. So you might be the monetary one. It might be the mental space that you can give, to create, the emotion sort of space you can give as well, environmental that you can actually provide. All of those are different, and all of them come in different values to what someone might need. So emotion might be the part that feeds back into the princess part, but not negating everything else that she has to do and what she understands in line with your provision.
Right.
The problem becomes when you don't understand where you're supposed to go because, again, remember I said this in last time, that men deal in finality, women are perpetual. And you know, the thing about it is they know. And no matter how much you want to find, let's use an example like, let's have a practical example because I think that will help people because they'll think most of this stuff is just going over their heads. And I gave it, I think, last week. And I want you to understand this. When you were courting your wife, who was in charge of that relationship?
Are you asking me or are you asking them?
I was asking them. They're going to give me comments, but I'm asking you.
When you were courting your wife, who was in charge?
Yes. Think about that.
It wasn't a matter of charge.
Let's simplify this.
No. It wasn't a matter of who's in charge. Something I wanted to touch again. It wasn't a matter of who was in charge. You are both equal. I said it to you last week and you just refused it. You are both equal.
We're not equal. That's my argument. And I'm going to carry forward in this podcast as well. We're not equal. We're not equal because, remember I once gave a definition my dad gave. I think it was the first and actually the second podcast. Where my dad said to me, and this is the words of a dying man. So for me, those are profound. You are a logical creature. That's an emotional creature. You will never, ever balance out. And I supported that by saying, a young man will go and buy a car for his wife. Surprise! Oh, she's happy, elated. She celebrates him. She goes out with the car because the car can't be shown to the guy who bought it because he bought it. I got to show it to someone else so that she can get celebration as well. Gets to her friends. They ask her the equivocal question. So it's your car? Yes. Is it in your name? No, it's not.
This point is just going to continue forever.
That example goes back to even where women say to you, I want my own house. And listen, I've used the exact words that they use. I want my own house. Now, man comes to a point where he goes, hey, but I'm providing. Hey, I'm feeding you. Hey, I'm doing this. Your clothes, we're on holidays, blah, blah, blah. I want my own house. Is that a finality? Pause. No, that's a woman who, when she married you, saw potential and decided the path we're going to take. But you, in your myopicness, being a man, being king, being thinking that I'm all-knowing, stood and said, let me get her a holiday first. Let's have a kid. Let's do this. She pops up and says, I want my own house. Listen to the use of words there. It's not our house. It's my own house. Society dictates that's the norm. And I'm using these words very carefully. That's the norm. That it goes this way. Society dictates happily ever after, wherever we're going to go. If you got problems, you sort them out. And if somebody doesn't understand you and is on a different path with you, go back. You understand each other. They force it until it becomes, I'm used to it. This is what it is. You know, that's what time does, right? Time lets you get used to certain things. Let me give you a good example. There's the cracked window theorem. Have you ever been in a place where you see a small crack on your windscreen? Yeah, I'm turning back to cars here. And because it's a small crack, you get, yeah. Then you go around, hit a portal, it expands. You keep going around, it expands, you're going around. 3-4 months later, the whole windscreen has got to be replaced because the crack is moved all across. Correct? Yeah? You know this, right? But you, in your wisdom, when you first saw it, you said, you need to get rid of that crack, Chris. If you don't, that's going to expand. You gave me the wisdom to do that. Society goes, come on, it's just a small crack. I can still see through it. And I drive until it becomes such a big problem. The wars you were talking about last time, we have to replace the whole windshield totally all over again. Society dictates that. It's normal for us to do that way. Your Disney story goes and says, a small crack. Hey, we got to fix it. Got to do it now. And we fix it and we go over it. Society is not like that. Society doesn't rush to make it all seem very beautiful and pretty at that point. No. Society says you've got to suffer and struggle so that it comes and makes you bond. Strife makes you bond together. That's what society says. My definition of forever is different from that, and I want to explain this. And thank you for keeping ridiculously quiet about it. My definition of forever is I know there's going to be a problem. I know it's going to be like this. I want to avoid it as quickly as possible. Let me change it now. As opposed to being like society, which in this case terms to be like life, is that we take it until we can't take it anymore. The walls have been built up. Then we either pull down the walls or we have to climb back into that castle and becomes our prison. That's my first comeback. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, he's holding his head now.
I like the way the producer's laughing. Right. I don't know whether I'm going to come in with a very
philosophical reply.
Yeah, I'm just going to come across it in this way.
Always and forever.
The games people play, or the things we do to get what we want.
Mm-hmm. Like, I want my house.
Now, here's the deal.
It's never your house, huh?
I want my house comes about from the environment or setup that got you very upset, annoyed, irritated last week or the week before. I got to use all of those. People can pick up. That's where it comes from. That's where I want my house comes from.
You know every woman says this, right?
Yeah. No. Hang on.
Every woman.
Hang on. Let me finish. I think I was quiet when you're on your roll.
I'm sorry.
It comes from that setup of where there was no clear definition of of who you are. And when I say who you are, we're going to talk about it as a collective.
Okay.
You haven't defined who you are one to another, and you haven't defined who you are as each other to the world.
Okay.
And so I want my house is because there wasn't a clear definition. There leaves the opening to declare a definition of self. Like what was said at the inception of every human institution, there lies a seed to its own destruction.
Yes.
Yeah. So because at the inception of that, there wasn't a clear-cut definition of who you are as a collective. And so because there's no understanding of who you are as a collective, the world, society, neighbors, friends, can then dictate and influence where you're coming from. Because there was no clear definition of whose car it was. You understand? Or the clear understanding of why there's a car. It allowed the expression of, but it's not in my name. It's not in your name, guy. It's not in your name, guy. It's not in your name. So what has happened is the moment they say that is because there was no clear definition of, no, this is car. It's not about whose it is. It's about what is it doing. But then society has dictated to us, Kuti, you must have your stuff. It is your stuff. You must have.
Yeah, true.
You must attain.
Yeah.
You must do this. Yeah. You must be like that. I'm not saying I'm not having a Hollywood mindset, but when you get to the point where you're always listening to something else, if you're not grounded in knowing who you are, then you're wishy-washy and you'll be blown wherever people want to take you. And so somebody who's being labeled as being rebellious is not being rebellious. They're stating a position. Because a position relies on purpose, and purpose relies on being defined. And being defined means you've made a decision to influence a certain trajectory, and you've chosen that. Yes? So, you didn't define. And because you didn't articulate your definition effectively, you then defined on behalf of someone.
Okay.
So as a collective, you expressed yourself as a collective in relation to how you defined on their behalf, not as how you defined one to another. And so when it's, I want my house, she is, or he, let's say she is then stating it in a situation where she's coming back from no definition as a collective. And then they've free-willed themselves. Now, free-willed themselves. Yeah, but you can free-wheel as well. You know free-wheeling. Yeah, on a bike. Yeah, free wheel. There's no driving. They just continue rolling.
Yeah.
So they free-wheeled themselves, and from free will, they free-willed themselves to begin to articulate something that is opposing to a collective definition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I just want to come in there. So you're saying that if you haven't defined it as a unit as one in the beginning,
You're wasting time.
so my talk last week was correct. Then.
No.
Whereas-
Your talk last week was come from a situation where you were pissed off about a resultant that you created because you did not allow for a collective definition. No, Chris, no, that pisses me off sometimes. we were losing it because there's just no collective definition. And then, while we're on that,
I wanted to put in a point.
no, write it down. When we're on that, right? While we're on that collective definition,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And what this guy said, I won't forget that when he goes, dude was on a tune you love. The honeys are being told support structure.
Yes.
Now what happens is because honeys now is listening to society. Eve serpent is listening to society, and no, it does go. No,
Me too.
Think for yourself. Me too. Yeah, no, think for yourself. No, gender equality. No, and some of these things are coming out in a very negative way. And so you are now being forced to think as though you are equal in such a setup when you are not. Yeah? Remember, I know you're about to say something about equality. Remember when we started, yeah? We were equal. And it.
That was your definition.
Nah, just say, remember when we started, I said we come to the table equally.
Yeah, yes.
Equally to do what?
Yes, you said
To bring about a combined definition.
Yes.
And when you bring about in a combined definition, wherever there's an institution, there has to be a leader. Any institution. Even if it's a board of trustees, there has to be a leader.
Isn't that what they're against, though? They say that there shouldn't be a leader, we should be equal.
That's nonsense. That's nonsense. I'm fed up with that. Because where there's a collective of leadership, what's going to happen is there'll always be a house that is divided against itself.
Too many cooks.
Yeah, too many cooks spoil the broth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can't have 4 qualified mechanics working on one car because everybody has their system.
Yeah.
I was talking to an apprentice. I said, you know what? When you're doing this, do it A, B, C, D. And then I stopped off and said, but that's how I would do it because that's my signature. I'm advising you on something that works.
Yeah.
This is why people are bringing their cars here.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
I would like for you to do it in this way, but have your signature.
Okay.
So that you can have something that you can be proud of knowing that you put it through and it works.
Yeah.
But have your signature. But at the end of the day, it must have the same result of mine where it must work.
Yeah.
And so you allowed those parameters, but it must work. But it must be under a collective decision. But wherever there's a lead, wherever there's an institution, there must be a leader. Someone who can say the buck starts here and it stops here. There has to be. It's not a board of trustees.
Which also has a leader, though.
Yeah, it must have. There must be somebody who just say, that's where I brought about there are times when there's no equality because there has to be somebody where the buck stops. But in terms of the collective definition, you're both equal. If somebody then decides to drop the ball, kujairirana. Because when you drop the ball, ujaira umwe wako, nokuti auchada, kusada, because you've dropped the ball. So when you drop the ball, you're out of definition. That's why it's hard work. Whether it is a relationship, whether it's a relationship, marriage, business partnership, the works. If one person drops the ball, that dropping of a ball is an indication of a certain aspect. And that certain aspect then brings about me too. But I want my house. And then your definition of failure is like, So you can work hard to try and eliminate all these issues, but it will still come in. There will be the serpent and there will be Eve. It will still come in. But you need to get to a situation, you know what? We can still work it out. But you have to come back to the collective. But the problem is nobody wants to come back to the collective definition. You scan.
I want to quote that division. Is that okay?
Look, you do what you want because you got your own mic. You know. But that's where the thing is. And what also just irks me and just really annoys me and pisses the hell out of me is the actual the gumption to want to accept a societal demand that you must have your own when you've come to a situation where there's a collective definition. And a collective definition has got nothing to do with property or assets.
That's why I said division.
All of that stuff. It's got to do with the direction in which you want to be viewed as a collective.
Yeah.
You follow that direction.
Yeah.
If the leader, let's stop being cryptic. Let's use a husband and wife situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the husband then is slowly leading,
mm-hmm.
It is not the wife's duty to go ahead of him at any moment in time.
Uh-huh.
She supports the slow leading, but here's the deal. If I'm trying to put in a I'm riding, yeah? I cycle almost every day.
55 today?
No, today was 38.
Okay.
Just 2K short of my target. When I started, 10 was a mission.
Was heavy, right?
10 was a mission.
You actually shocked me. Because you started recently. It's not like too long, far back.
Yeah, this year.
And you're doing 38. Wow.
But
that's today.
But target is 40.
And in a week it's over 100 and something.
Yeah, I need to. Not because I've got an illness or anything, but you get to a point where I was laughing at myself this morning when I was riding. There's a certain incline that would just
demoralize.
Oh my gosh! You change gears on the bike. Today I took it. I didn't change any gears. I got to the summit. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm not looking for a steeper summit,
mm-hmm.
so that I can tell my legs to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the conditioning of my legs now is propelling me to look for a tougher summit, or a tougher.
So, in an analogy with the husband and wife, how is that?
If his leading is slow, or is absent, but if the leading is slow, that which is under your direct control because of his leadership, make sure it is so fine-tuned that he sees that he needs to keep you busy.
Okay.
To give you something else to do. Because what happens is you're forcing him to be outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
It's human nature because, okay, it's done. Okay, he's just... Men are wired. I really didn't want to say this. Men are wired in finality.
Yeah. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my birthday, and that's my birthday present today.
They're wired in finality, as in before it was, look, all I have is $30. He's got more, but he's like, I'm just giving you $30.
Let's work with
Let's work with $30.
Yeah.
And she uses that $30 to the most where he's like, what? If you can do this with 30, let me do 50.
Yeah.
And then
100. 200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before he knows it, he's pumping out 1,000, 1,005. Okay. He may not understand what got him there. She will, because she's the support structure.
So they don't understand that, do they?
Who, women?
Yeah.
They do, but they want the easy way out. I want my house. You understand? The car is not in my name. You understand? Because you're not looking at the situation where it's not about making sure he's the best he can be. It's about making sure that she's seen. The discussion I had last week about why on earth are we having our hair done outside the yard? You know, can you see my braids? Can you see my braids? Can you see? What you're doing now is you're belittling
What he's doing.
And so when the more you belittle that, the less is going to impart upon you. And then you begin to whine, but no, I'm not the one that dropped the ball. You understand? And so then it's easier then to think about the one that got away or the one that meets your needs. Because they have within them the ability to recognize the little you have done and celebrate that. And so when they celebrate it, you're then inspired to do something that they celebrate you more. And so you're then the cycle of inspiration and celebration is occurring outside the situation where it should be happening.
Yeah, that's true.
You
It's
scan
the apple of the eye.
Yeah. Now we need a video. But and so and that's what it becomes. And then you end up doing the most to be the most. You're either the best or you're nothing. Now what happens is when you then get excited elsewhere, you're seen as a rebel, but you're not a rebel. What you're doing is your definition of self is being celebrated elsewhere.
I
not at
agree
home.
With that. Totally, I totally agree with that.
And so what pisses me off now is when everything is being seen and the brown stuff has hit the fan, everybody's assuming that, how can this guy do this? How could he do this? How could he just walk away like that? You know? And like I mentioned, I think, 3-4 podcasts ago, when I said, he didn't walk away EPUB.
He didn't just wake up.
Yeah, he didn't just wake up and say, you know what?
I have a dream. Let me go.
Let me just get out of this. No, he disconnected years ago.
It was gradual.
Yeah, so the disconnect is immediate. The effects are gradual.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the effects, nobody paid attention because they're all saying, I want my house.
Isn't society man-made?
Yes, because there's an agenda that is required.
Exactly, and you've used the right word for it.
Yeah, there's an
agenda. It's actually a dirty word when you say agenda.
Because that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The agenda is for you to be
conformist to their rules.
A consumer, not a producer. That's the agenda. Because those that are producing the goods or the mindset or the ideologies are a small minority.
Yeah.
Very small minority. And they need consumers for them to be relevant to themselves. Mm-hmm. So they've defined themselves and we've accepted that definition. You get it? The princess mentality?
No, that's not a bad one. You can't go against society here because it's the majority. You can. It's the majority. So
that's where the issue is. You see, continue. There's something that I wanted to say out loud, but I need to read it in case people think I'm
against society.
No, because there's a misuse of this particular word. A maverick. A maverick is an unbranded range animal, or a motherless calf, or an independent individual who does not go along with a group or a party. That's a maverick.
And I like that. Just before you come in, would you agree that humans are pack animals?
They are. Yeah. Hence why this whole society nonsense.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody has to be a maverick. You have to be a maverick. You look at me, you're blinking. Everybody has to be a maverick to a certain degree. You cannot refute it, you cannot deny it. Because if there were no mavericks, then you have no need to have a business venture. There's no need for you to become self-employed. You know, the people that are making the money when you are employed is not the CEO, but is the owner. You understand? It is not. I remember it was a joke. Who was it? It wasn't Kevin Hart. I think it was Chris Rock. He says, you know what? There's a difference between rich people and wealthy people.
Yes, there is.
And he used this. I'll say it verbatim. You can go and Google it and check it out on YouTube. His joke was, Shaquille O'Neal is rich.
It's rich.
The fella that writes the check to Shaquille O'Neal
is wealthy.
Is wealthy.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah.
So the wealthy guy is the maverick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shaquille is rich. Every man within him, every man, and I'm going to use the gender, I'm not going to say man, woman, every man within him has the gene of being a maverick. Every man.
So we just don't engage it.
We don't engage in it. Now here's the deal.
Because of society.
No. Here's the deal. Everyone who's able to succeed or excel in a task, in a dream, in a mission, in a vision, is able to succeed because they have a fantastic support structure. Anyone, you think about it, anyone, nobody woke up and they're just fantastic. They had a support structure. Okay, if we're going to talk about business and all that stuff, you've got everything laid out. You've dissected the entire environment, and you've got your people in place, your support structure, everyone. If you're going to bring it to the emotions, you've got everybody in check, the people that you can rely on, the people that when you fall, they'll say, you know what, you've fallen. So what? It's not a permanent situation, just a temporary setback. Get up and go. Everybody has that support structure. Anyone and everyone. And everybody has the capacity to be a maverick. We're here with the producer. He's being a maverick on his own. He's here. You understand? Doing his hustle. You're doing your hustle. I'm doing my hustle. Everybody has the ability to be a maverick. Do you know just how many ad agencies are there?
Too many.
Do you know how many producers like our producer are there?
Quite a bit.
Do you know how many mechanics are out there? But everyone.
I've gone quite a few.
You know what I mean? Have you seen how many car sales are in the city?
Yes.
But everybody has a gene to be a maverick so that everything they do yields fruit. The capacity in which, or the tenacity in which you go out and get it, is now dependent upon how well and how much you trust your support structure. Now, if you have a situation where you cannot trust your support structure, then you're in a situation where we were talking about earlier, where it appears as though he's not leading enough. Because the support structure in itself is flawed.
Yeah, but I'm going to come back, and I really think I should support the other people that you call that don't support them. Because we're men, and I think we might be extremely biased. What if you're not speaking the same language for them to be able to support you?
This is where we get to the situation where you were at 2 weeks ago, the week before, where you make sure you are enjoying your definition, but you haven't come to a collective definition.
Okay, so that's what I'm like.
This is when we discussed, when we're still, when it was, when I was telling about a friend of mine who said, so what do I do with my dude? What do I do?
I used that example with someone recently.
Are you serious?
Oh, they loved it to bits.
What do I do with my dude? Because, it's not working. I don't understand, because he's just doing his own thing. And I said, what I'm about to tell you, you're not going to like it. And she goes, why? And I said, because it means you need to sit down and say, hey, how are you? I'm fine. And when she starts reacting or she's asking a question, when a woman asks, apirero.
Yeah, there'll be.
Because what has happened is their husband or the significant other has now just done a 180.
Yeah, he's totally different.
Couldn't care less.
Yeah.
And said, you sit down. Actually, don't sit down. You prepare. When you prepare, you present the food. You don't give. You present the food. And I know what I'm about to say or what I'm saying goes against any woman that feels or accepts the fact that they're enlightened.
They actually want to know that.
Yeah, no. Some of them feel they're overly enlightened and they are the CEOs of the Me Too movement. I don't give a rat's. You can finish that off. You need to you need to sit down. You present the food. Wait for the food to be eaten. Take the food away. Wash the guy's hands. You do the whole kneeling thing. You know the stuff that we used to do that used to be ridiculed?
Oh, my guy.
And you don't just have cold water. It's heated water. The guy washes his hands, wipes his hands. Kids, get out. Guy knows something serious is about to happen. Do not sit next to him. No. Sit before him. You can actually kneel before him.
So
this sounds like a movie. You kneel before him and say, you know what? Even if you can't speak in the vernacular, that's not an issue. You just say, you know what? It has come to me. Yeah. If you don't know what he measures in Shwana, you don't know his totem, you find out.
I was asked about that.
Serious. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Find out. And then you do the kneeling thing and you say, you do the whole proclamation or whatever you use. And you say, it has come to my attention. I've noticed that I have failed or I've come short. I've fallen short of an expectation that I have dropped the ball. I need to be on the same page with you because I know what you are. Not who you are, but what you are. And I want to support what you are. The moment she does that and drops that, he's not going to move for an hour, even if she doesn't say anything more, for a whole hour, because in his mind, he'll be, what just happened? Because his what just happened is he's realizing the game has changed.
So isn't that just giving him respect? Which is what men know in what? You don't want love, you want respect.
The Me Too movement doesn't know what respect is.
Okay, let's not go there. They'll kill us.
I don't give a rat's. They can finish it off. Because at the end of the day, a collective definition is more effective, more powerful than an individual. I want my house.
That was very eloquently put. And I support your argument. I think it's very, it's correct. And
what? Keep going.
No, it's perfect, actually.
But
I want to support it.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I want to support it.
It's your birthday. I was trying to figure out what's going on.
I want to support it. I mean, I think 2 podcasts or 3 podcasts ago, I said to you that there's a family friend. His mom is here and he's out of the country. So I go and see her. And she drops those sort of gems. These old people are smart, man.
Hey, they're hectic. Because they've realized that, I wasted time.
Know. Yeah, they know. And I go to her because I think she's just way out there. And I'd gone with that definition.
Yeah.
And that definition was then rehashed to support what you just said. I'll have to be a fool to fool the fool to get what I want.
Yeah.
So, Baba Magaswere, my dear, all that salutation gets down. She makes herself look like a fool to fool the fool, which is you, to get what she wants. What has been eroded is that you don't have to do that. That's what you're talking about, where everybody comes through and says, I don't have to do that. But without knowing, and I keep going back to the second podcast, we said women.
It's like you spent the whole week listening to all of them and saying, I'm going to get this out.
Women are smarter than they should be. And they don't realize it. They are more powerful in that regard. If I give you respect, all the problems in the world go away. All of them.
So why don't I get the respect?
Exactly.
So we are here now because you're not getting that stuff.
Exactly.
You understand? So why isn't it there?
I went back to, was it the last podcast where I said, where you enlightened me and said, Eve knew.
Oh, no, she knew. But
yeah.
She knew.
That's power.
Yeah.
When you got knowledge, which you haven't applied to become wisdom, but you know. So she knew. She knew that partaking this was wrong. And she brought on Adam. Let's partake together because can't 3-2.
No, she didn't say let's.
What did she say?
She just gave them.
And he knew it was wrong.
No, he didn't know it was wrong. He trusted it. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
That's where he came from.
That's what I wanted you to say. Thank you. That's all I wanted you to say.
Because that's what I'm saying.
He
the neck
trusted
support.
her. And that's the thing. We trust our significant others to be the support we need when we come back.
But isn't that what it's all about,
But
Chris?
they don't. And that's what we're trying to. No, but it is. It is the most fundamental part of everything you've just said, is that we trust them to be the support we need when we come back from the hunt.
Yeah, yeah.
And we don't get that support because they think we're equal.
Hey!
We're not equal. We are different. We're fundamentally different. And because we're different, we work. We don't work when we think we're equal because we're fundamentally different. We're so different.
No, Chris, no, you're just trying to twist. You're trying to twist.
It is the truth. Because we're different, we work. She's the support. She is the support. And I love the example you gave of Samson. To me, that's always going to be one of your best lines ever. We gave us Sam. That Delilah was not the prettiest or the hottest woman in the world out there. No. But she gave him a place of rest and peace. So much so that he felt liberated to tell her his innermost secrets. To say, this is it. This is it. And why they build up wars is because, for me, has always been, you're not following where they want you to go. So if he had refused, what was she going to do? What was Delilah going to do? She pressed on with different methods. She'll come with the cuddly stuff. Be there. How are you? Dress his wounds.
Just coming back to the point where you're saying we just
dress his wounds, everything
zombies.
else. Then she'll come back and say, today you're not getting any. And walk away. Perfumed and everything else. Walk away. Messes up with his mind. He comes back and says, what can I do for you, my queen? She becomes the most powerful being because she's stronger than Samson. So when you laid it out for me, I just said, wait a minute. He's just giving me all the examples of where women are strong. They don't know how strong they are. Or, and this is just a revelation for me, they do know how strong they are. They're abusing their power.
So we are here now because of a power abuse.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so because we've realized that we're no longer slaves.
You don't even realize anything. They're just abusing their power.
No, when you realize that you're being abused, and you step out and you say, enough is enough, you are rebellious.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Isn't that what happens with the slave? Don't they whip you, Kunta Kinte? What's your name? Kunta Kinte. What's your name? Toby. Isn't that what happens? So the wars we talked about, where you said they build up these wars and now we're not connecting, we're not together. That's your punishment. That's your whip.
So, okay.
That's your whip coming back to you saying, you are out of line. And that's what I said last week. You're out of line. Because they're thinking we're equal. But we're not equal. We're significantly different. Because we're different, we work.
But Chris, we are equal. Okay, let's define, because of this thing that you've been saying all this time. What's the word? The word was in my head just now. Come on. Like you're saying, being different, you've got to celebrate a difference.
Yes. And you remember, you said it.
No. It's not a business.
Okay.
Look at my hands. My hands are still forming.
Okay.
The concept. You have to celebrate a difference. Yes? You both equally have to celebrate a difference. So you come in equally. You are equal when you come together to form a collective.
Thank you. We are equal.
Yeah. No, I didn't mean equal as in you're both the yang of the yin and yang. No, there's yin and yang, but then you have to. That's something that's totally out there. I say, no, this guy's talking about church just now, but woo. Anyway, so opposites, Paul Abdul. Opposites do attract.
Yes.
Yeah. But for there to be an attraction, there has to be a condition for there to be an attraction. That condition needs to be satisfied equally. You present it equally.
Which is your collective definition.
Yes.
I agree with you. 100%.
Equal.
Yes.
But then what happens is there's someone who drops the ball or refuses to bring through. No, I got to bring it in because somebody's going to drop the ball, and so the equality is no longer there because they're going to assume that they're more equal than you.
Yes.
And then we get to a situation where the one that got away starts playing in your mind. Or somebody who satisfies your needs plays your mind, because your needs are not necessarily needs that need to be met.
No.
Your needs are to feel as though there's an equal drive to a specific end.
Yes.
And I won't say end because you get excited.
Yes.
There's a drive to get to a specific outcome. Yeah. And that outcome can be perpetual, because finality at times has its drawbacks.
Yes,
because finality will always say, and let me say it now, you really annoy me, Chris, when you present that question of what next?
What next?
No. But then you see, the issue is not
what next?
The issue is not always about what next.
It is.
Yeah. No. The issue is not always about what next, because what next is always covered by the collective agreement of where to be going. Because if you're going to get to a situation of tashika, then you both can ask each other what next.
Okay.
But you can't get there. You see, your definition of forever supports what next. Mine doesn't. Mine supports we are going over there.
So this journey that you're going on there's no end? It's perpetual.
It has to be perpetual.
Can I tell you what makes it flawed, though?
What?
Is you have to be celebrated. So if it's not an end that you can see where you're celebrated, it doesn't work. You've got to have what I call milestones. Those milestones, in other words, are called what next?
You know, when you're
Let me
taking
give you
a
a good
trip
example.
to
Let
Cape
me-
Town.
Yes.
When you're driving to Cape Town.
Yes. Long, beautiful road.
Oh, it's a beautiful
Yes. We
drive.
recommend you all drive there, but if you're driving there, take a Mercedes.
Oh yeah, the best or nothing. You know, it's because it's nice to drive when you're not one with the car. You know, when you're one with the car, when everything is vibrating, you're one with the car.
You're
You know,
always surprised.
If you move your arm 1 degree, the car is just lofted. But my first drive to Cape Town, I had no idea
Okay.
which was the best route. I had no clue. I knew as far as Joburg.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew as far as
That's
Joburg.
shorter than going to Cape Town.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Joburg is less than half of getting to Cape Town.
Yeah.
So I knew as far as Joburg. Drove to Joburg, spent the night. Woke up at 5 in the morning. I'm in the car. I'm driving. I pass. I'm looking at the odometer. 500 Ks. There's a sign. Cape Town, 1,000 Ks.
1,200 Ks to go.
My gosh. But I had no idea where I was going. Yeah. I was with my spouse at the time. And it was one of those, every city you pass by, you're like, what? Wow, look at this, look at that, you know?
Milestone.
You know, what? But we had no idea where we were going.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Get to a fuel station, you have no clue just whether you're going to find another fuel station. Yeah, because we've never used that route before.
So what kept you going?
I just pour fuel. Yeah.
Okay.
I pour fuel in the car so that I keep leading us to where we are supposed to be going, because we have a mindset of there's a specific direction.
Yeah.
None of us have been there.
Yeah.
None of us. We've seen pictures of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've heard stories about it, but none of us have been there. And mind you, and I'm going to say it out if there are South Africans listening, one of the most fearful places for any Zimbabwean driver to drive in, fearful countries, is South Africa. You know, because of all you're going to get jacked.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Don't drive more than 121 Ks an hour, because the cops are going to stop you, and you know they're just going to try and
Harass
get money out of you.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got all of that. You don't know where you're going, but you have all of these things that.
And you're going deep into the country now.
Yeah, and you're enjoying the views, but in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, this may happen, but we're still going.
So.
It's a bit.
Okay.
Because I know you're going to just chop me up there, you know, and we're still going. Fuel station rocks up. I'm above 3/4. I'm fine. But you know what?
But you're just like.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm used to Joburg, Harare Joburg, where
know.
Actually I'm used to Beitbridge Joburg, where you know every 100 Ks there's a fuel station. But I haven't done this trip.
Okay.
So let me be safe.
Yeah.
Let me protect me and mine, and know where we are going.
Yeah.
And you keep going. That's the same thing. Sometimes the finality is in, we know where we are supposed to be going. That's the finality. We know. Never been there in this situation. And most of my mates, in fact, all of my peers at the time, had never taken that trip. All of my peers had never. So there was no one to refer to. You know what I mean? It was all to deal with. I had a what did I have? A Sony Ericsson at the time, and I was using the map application. That's all I had.
On your phone?
On my phone. You know, that's all I had. Plus,
You're either very brave or the dumbest man I've ever met.
hence why I kept on putting fuel.
Yeah.
And that's how we do it as well in life.
Yeah.
Whether you're a significant other or your spouse, you understand what you want to, where you want to go. There's a general,
definition.
There's a general understanding. We're going in this direction. And so where there's a place and you're feeling peckish, hey, we stop here, we eat. Don't know what we're going to find. If we find something, fair and fine. We've got the resources, but don't know for now. Let's eat now. Hey, fuel gauge. We can do another 600 Ks, but I don't know what's happening there. Let's just top up. We've got the resources. And there's always that set, we do, okay, let's eat it. Let me eat this now. Okay, yeah, let's put fuel now. There's always that support to the general collective. But when somebody then decides, I'm sleeping, do what you want. That's it. Do what you want. What is your what is your interpretation of that? So I'm by myself.
You're carrying a dead body with you.
So I'm by myself.
Because we're supposed to be doing this together.
Exactly. So I'm by myself.
Where's my co-pilot?
Exactly. So I'm by myself. So the ball is dropped.
Yeah.
Then what's the next thing you're going to do? You're going to see somebody who's hitchhiking and you're like, okay, cool.
You're a better
do you
co-pilot.
know how to get there? I'm not too sure. I haven't been there as well, but it's in that general direction.
Let's go.
Let's go. and that's what happens. And so the one who was supposed to be with you all this time is like,
then wakes up.
Where did this person come from? You were sleeping.
Jeez, my guy, this analogy.
You know what I mean? You were sleeping. And so the person you've just picked up now is now, because you've been on this journey, is the co-pilot. And because in this journey, while this one was snoozing, you've been checking out towns, you've been seeing accidents, you've been seeing beautiful views. What you then do, you relate.
Because you got a collective definition.
Exactly. And the views now become what you're defining as milestones. And so there's more of a connection with the passenger you've just picked up.
The new co-pilot?
Yeah, than the one that you started the journey with.
Or you moved to the back seat.
Exactly. And so the fault is not with the driver. The fault is not with the driver because it's the same car. It's the same definition of destination because he is driving to the place. And so the one who's snoozing has no right to complain because they dropped the ball. Do you understand?
I'm just going to put a disclaimer there because it's my birthday. I have no idea who this guy is.
They dropped the ball.
That's a beautiful
So the person that is now the co-pilot has become the co-pilot because they've identified with where the driver is going. And that's it. I remember there's a wedding I attended.
No, I just want to applaud you for that analogy. It is a wonderful analogy because it can open up anything in your life. You're going to have punches, you're going to have a gasket blown, you're going to have those sort of issues.
Yeah.
You've got to top it up and you're going to have milestones along the way. And it's a journey you're taking.
Yeah, it's a journey you're taking. So if they're going to drop the ball, they've already built the wall.
Well, they're the back seat already.
Yeah, in the back seat. They've built the wall to communicate with you. Yeah. Because whatever they're going to say is no longer relevant. They've become redundant.
So how do they make it? How do they make themselves relevant?
That's another podcast. I let the producer note that. That's another podcast. Because
how do you make yourself relevant again?
No, it's very easy.
You say that.
It's very easy.
It's not V.
No, it's very easy.
Podcast.
No, that's what I'm saying. You can signal because I can't see the producer. You can signal him
he's happy
to
with
write
that.
it down.
He says you write it down.
Yeah, to write it down, and we can. It's a very easy thing. I am tuning you. It's very easy.
Maybe because
because there are 4 ships.
That's what I know what you're saying.
The fourth one is the one that's
you talked
difficult.
about it in the second and third podcast.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But you've done 3/4 of the journey with somebody else.
Now, here's the deal.
Then the co-pilot steps in. The co-pilot satisfies all your needs.
There we go. Because when you're stopping to buy something to eat, the one that's snoozing has no clue that you've stopped to eat. Has no clue that they're hungry.
Today you're killing.
And there's no clue that they're thirsty. There's no clue. But the co-pilot you're with is like, you're like, I'm not too sure, but you want to eat? Sure. They're not paying you. They're not bribing. What they've done is they're allowing themselves to connect with where you want to go. And they're happy to be with you. If they were not happy, they would have said, no, he is fine. Because they're enough with you. But no. For that fraction of a second when you're on the same page, same moment, you are together. So they'll eat, and you're eating the same food. You haven't changed your budget. Mm-hmm. Get this. You haven't changed your budget because you're not buying food for the one that's snoozing because they're snoozing. They will have no idea whether they're hungry or not. So your budget hasn't changed. Yeah? It's your same space. It's your same time. Nothing has changed. What has changed is the original co-pilot is in the back seat of their own choice. That's why I was talking about the princess complex. It's a choice. You choose to be ignorant to the current situation. And they chose it. So when you're going out and what you have done is you haven't changed in doing the most. You haven't changed in being the best or nothing, because you're still stopping to buy food. You're still stopping to pay to get fuel. Your destination has remained true of where you're going. So you doing the most is just you. So when this person wakes up and they see, but people are eating. Where's mine? What do you mean, where's yours? Where were you? That's the thing. So now the one in the backseat is complaining, but no, you should have woken me up. No, you should have. No. We were supposed to have gone on this journey together. You refused to be together.
You refused to be present.
Yeah. So I remember I sent something out some time back. I said,
that's by far the deepest
proximity
analogy you've given in the last 5 podcasts.
Proximity of presence is not evidence of existence.
You could be lying in the back seat and you don't matter.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what
You're
is
ugly
happening.
today. You're ugly today.
and that's what is happening so much right now. And so society said, you are tired. Go and sleep. I'm driving.
Stay up with me.
What are you doing?
You're actually sitting.
Yeah, you're sitting.
You're not getting tired.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be getting tired.
I'm driving.
You should be supporting me.
I am flying. I'm doing 120, 130, and you're sleeping.
You should be telling me stories.
Yeah.
So I don't sleep.
But the new co-pilot is keeping me awake and alert. I can do 200 because I am wide awake. And so they're pushing me to be better. So I
want the other podcast because I need to know how you came from the back seat to become the co-pilot again. I need to know that because it seems so definitive at this point. Because you know how you got backseat drivers, which they become.
Exactly. And backseat drivers are what? Redundant and irrelevant.
You're ugly today, bro.
So you're doing 240, 250. You're not fearful. You're being inspired. You're being influenced to do greater. By the co-pilot. To do the most. The car hasn't changed. The space in which you're in hasn't changed. Your resources have not changed. But the person that's inspiring you is celebrating you for you to be inspired to do more. But the one in the back seat is just complaining. You should have stopped there. Why are you talking now? And then the first person you're going to ask, are you okay? He's not the one in the back seat. He's a new co-pilot.
I'm impressed.
So
you've been thinking about that one. I love it. And I love the fact it's about a car because we all relate to it.
You all relate and everybody can relate to it.
No, that was beautiful.
And so
it's nasty.
But it's the truth.
But it's beautiful. It's nasty. And you know what? I hope you sleep easy tonight. Because flip, that's ugly.
I want to sleep easy, man.
Yeah, that was ugly.
Look, it's the realness.
Yeah, it's the ugly truth.
And so if
I think I'm fed up with people just romanticizing it. And I will say that with you is that people will say that, so if the backseat, so change the seat right now. But wait a minute. You went there.
You went there.
Yeah.
So, and that now here's the deal. Here's the deal. You've just said it when you said the one in the backseat goes, no, let's swap. So you want me now, the driver, to stop the car, to allow for you to move back to the co-pilot seat because you feel threatened. No.
No, don't even feel threatened. You feel redundant.
You feel redundant. No. Because the issue is not the co-pilot. It was never about the co-pilot.
You gave up your seat.
You gave up your seat. That's where the issue is. And as the driver, I don't want to stop because I've got a momentum.
And I'm going somewhere.
Yeah, and that momentum now has given me the impetus to go faster and further to reduce what? The time taken to get to the expected destination. Which none of us in the car know where we're going. But you are enjoying the company of the new co-pilot because they are awake.
I call that doing life.
And so as you're doing life, you're doing the best or nothing. You understand? So now, that's why it's not about sheer driving pleasure. Because sheer driving pleasure allows you to
forget about your co-pilot.
Yeah,
just
you drift and you do the handbrake turns and all that stuff. And sheer driving pleasure doesn't mean you're going anywhere. You can just be having sheer driving pleasure, driving around in circles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In pursuit of perfection, perfection means there is no need for company. Because you can exist as an individual. But here you just want to be the best or nothing because you're enjoying the co-pilot.
You're ugly today.
And so when you're saying, when we say the games that people play or the things we do to get what we want, so many a time, not so many, in fact, from the moment a child is born, every parent wants this child to be the best version of who they are. Of who that child is must be the best version of who they are. Not a photocopy of me. I don't want my son to be a photocopy of me. I've got so many flaws. No, I want my son to be the best of who he can be. And instill that in him. I want my daughter to be the best she can be. I don't want her to be a photocopy of her mom. No, because she's an individual.
True.
So she needs to be the best she can be. Yeah. So when you get to a situation where you define yourself, and then you meet up with somebody and you have a collective, that collective decision and collective definition should not separate the fact that you are propelling each other to be the best you can be. So on my trip to Cape Town, I must be the best I can be. On my drive, I must be the best. But if you're going to sleep on the job, so I no longer, literally, so I am no longer aware of how good I can be, because you cannot define excellence and success from your own understanding, because you are limited to what you see and what you know, but you need someone else to remind you of what you're doing, to remind you of where you are, and to inspire where to go. You need somebody. But if somebody's going to then say, I'm tired, and goes and sits in the back seat, here's the deal. They're not going to stop. You're not going to stop the car for them to climb the back seat. They climbed themselves to climb over their seat to go to the back seat. But you're willing to stop to pick up a hitchhiker. Why? Because you need somebody to concur with you that what you're doing is okay. Because we're always seeking an assurance of affection. So if the one who's supposed to have been giving it to you all this time is sleeping, and then the one you've picked up is now doing it, it is not the person who you picked up's fault. They were not there to have a quick fix. They were not there for a quick fix. They heard where you were going. They've never been there, but they also have an understanding of what it's like from just collective talking. They're like, Cape Town, sounds nice. I've heard about it. I've never been there. So I cannot tell you which route is shortest.
The journey is always better than the destination, actually.
Yeah. So they go with you and celebrate with you when you fill up, when you're going to eat, when you see a view. Hey, that's a nice view. Okay, but it's still got to go. No, it's fine. I can take a picture while we are moving. Yeah. And as they're taking that picture and they're showing it to you while you're driving, you're celebrating. And then as they celebrate, they inspire you to look, hey, can you see that over there? Or you see a car ahead of you and you're like, you know how long distance drivers are.
Yeah.
When you're alone, it's so frustrating. But when you see taillights in front of you, you want to catch up.
It's a target.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a target.
And so you're celebrating with each other. Let's catch up. Let's catch up. And then you overtake. You're celebrating while someone is snoozing. You haven't carried the extra baggage. You just
shifted it around.
Yeah.
You're ugly today.
And so
you're ugly. You're very ugly today.
And so we get to a situation where when she wakes up from the back seat and starts listening to the chats that are occurring in the front seat, they feel as though they've been left out, but it wasn't a conscious decision of the driver. Because like I said, he never left the driving seat.
And he didn't stop, yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to a wedding there years ago, before I was even 20. The reverend there was saying, wives, you must understand. I'll give you an analogy of what it's like. Remember cars of old, even pickup trucks of old, it was a bench seat.
Yeah, very hard.
Yeah. But also, you know, the champion gear lever?
Yes.
Yeah, where you could have a passenger sitting right next to you.
Yes.
And he said this couple got married, And that's how it was first kind of year. Every time she got in the car, she'll snuggle next to her husband, and they'll always drive, because while they were dating, that's what she would do. She'd just snuggle next to the guy's champion shift, so he'd have his arm over her shoulder and she's leaning against him, because it's just one single seat. And then what he would do now, he'd always put like jelly babies in his pocket. So while she's leaning against him, she just puts her hand in his pocket and she's chewing jelly babies, and she'd also give him. And
that's cool.
That was just fantastic. Then over time, after a year, that whole thing of familiarity and Shona Kujairan is producer laughed. So and Shona Kujairan, it got to a point where she gets into the car and she closes the door.
And she just sits there.
And she sits and he drives.
There's a gap.
Wherever they're going hasn't changed. They're still going home. He hasn't moved from the steering wheel because he's driving home.
So she moved.
She moved.
Yo.
He didn't stop putting sweets in the pocket. The sweets were still there.
She moved.
She moved. And then pretty soon it gets to a point where she gets in the door, she closes the door, she leans on her door.
Get me out of here.
He's still driving.
He's still got the jelly babies in his pocket.
Jelly babies.
But she wants to get out.
And then she's the first one to say, but you were not there. I have never moved.
Ooh. You are ugly today.
I've never moved.
You are...
Same thing with the journey to Cape Town. I didn't move. I've been here. But then the person who came in just now has seen me. And they are giving me jelly babies.
Men are going to send you jelly babies. You know that, right? They're going to be so happy with you. They're going to send you jelly babies.
Yeah, I haven't moved.
I think you've just modified exactly. My gosh.
Yeah, the jelly babies are still in my pocket. So the co-pilot now, the new co-pilot,
leans over
and says, the jelly babies, yeah. Don't you want? And then they start feeding the jelly babies.
And because you got a champion gear, your hand has to be over.
Exactly. And so they're feeding the jelly babies.
Yeah.
So it doesn't start out as she's feeding. It starts out as she's celebrating with you. And then she's taking care of your needs because you still want the assurance of affection. And she realizes the need is you need to chew something. And she says, the jelly babies in the pocket.
This podcast should be called Jelly Babies.
So the jelly babies in your pocket. And
you're ugly today.
And so no one has, that's why I'm saying she knew, Eve knew. Even the one that moved to the back seat knew. No, there are jelly babies in the pocket, but no, I'm tired.
Let me move to the back.
Exactly.
It's about me.
Yeah, it's about me. No, he can support himself.
Not you, but me.
Yeah, he can support himself. I want my house.
I want my house.
Yeah, he can support himself. What's difficult in driving?
We're not going to be mad about this podcast.
I don't mind. They can catch me at www.don'tgiveafuck.com.
www.Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Exactly. .com. It's .co.zw. Because it's the reality. And so many men out there, and you pointed it out from the first podcast, that COVID has just made people just sit and like, but I've been driving all along. Where have I fallen short? How? And the moment a man asks himself, where have I fallen short and how? Realize that somebody else
has picked up on that signal.
Not just picked up, but celebrated what he did somewhere else.
Yeah.
You see now, that's why when a man disconnects, it didn't happen when the woman found out that he's having an affair. No. The affair is a resultant of when he disconnected. And that's why when they realize that he's having an affair, he disconnected years ago.
But society says, no, you're wrong.
Which is why we get to the point where we are fed up. What the fudge?
True.
Yeah. So you have to be a maverick in everything. But the problem is nobody celebrates the maverick.
They're afraid of them.
Yeah, because the maverick is seen to be rebellious.
Yeah, it breaks all the rules.
Yeah.
Rules set by society.
Because the maverick is always running on adrenaline, fight or flight, and they would rather fight it out and do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And because people are tired now of running away. Where are you going to run away to now with COVID? Where are you going to run away to? You've got nowhere to run away to except then draw within yourself with no, enough.
I'm fed up.
And you go. And then you start looking around, okay, who's been feeding me jelly babies? Because that's the person that is on my side.
Today you're ugly.
No, I'm being real.
Now you're ugly. Today you're so ugly.
I'm being real because the moment you begin to understand, okay, who's been feeding me jelly babies? Oh, cool. You understand me. And you're understanding me not with what I have, but you understand with what I'm going to get. When the one who's been in the back seat is like, yeah, but I thought we were going to get, yeah, you thought.
But you're in the back.
Yeah, you're in the back seat.
I mean, the front.
Yeah,
I
I want to get back in the back, in the front seat.
But it's another podcast.
Yeah. I want to get back on the front seat. Because Nokia today, reset has to be HTC, then reset is iPhone, then
Go back to minus. Go back to we're good to go. Where are minus? Go for the
I'm just fed up.